All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the third segment of today's show, we're going to go over the game recaps from this weekend. So, and I'll get into the playoff race in the next segment, but there was like a lot happened. A lot happened. So we'll start off with Friday night. So we'll get the Yankees and the Pirates out of the way. So the Yankees won 7-5. They scored 4 runs in the ninth inning. So they defeated the Pirates 7-5. And a scary situation in this game. So the Yankees relief pitcher, Anthony Misevich, if I'm pronouncing that right, got drilled in the head by a line drive. And he was taken out of the game on a cart. He actually was like smiling and laughing, but he was in a lot of pain, obviously. Very scary situation. It was weird because I had the game on in here on my TV, and I left the room for like 30 seconds, and I come back, and I see everybody on the infield, kneeling on the ground, and I'm like, what happened? And I knew right away. I'm like, yeah, pitcher got drilled in the head, and it was, yeah, it ricocheted off of him and went into the outfield. So that's when you know it was really bad. But, as long as he's okay, that's all that matters. But that was just a very scary situation. And this is a guy that the Yankees just brought in, to pitch, they recently, and this had to happen. So it's been that kind of year for the Yankees. It's just been, it's terrible. But again, as long as he's okay, that's all that matters. So, yeah, Yankees ended up getting the win in that game, so 7-5. Marlins, they defeated the Braves 9-6, so that was a big win for them. So at the time, that brought their record to 76-72. The Rays, they beat the Orioles 7-1, so they took the first 2 games in the series, so that was big. Eflin got the win, and Flaherty got the loss. That was one game that I actually predicted right. I said I think the Rays are going to win. I liked the Rays in the series, but yeah, 7-1. The Blue Jays, they picked up the win against the Red Sox, 3-0. Barrios got the win. Bello got the loss, so that was big for the Blue Jays. Reds defeated the Mets 5-3, so that brought their record to 77-72. The Guardians, all over the Rangers. So like I was talking about, rough weekend for the Rangers. Guardians win 12-3. Twins beat the White Sox 10-2. The Royals beat the Astros 4-2. The Brewers beat the Nationals 5-3. The Phillies beat the Cardinals 5-4. Rockies beat the Giants 3-2. Tigers beat the Angels 11-2. So again, like I mentioned on Friday, their records are almost identical. And when the Angels, swept that doubleheader, Angels were like 54-49, and the Tigers were like 58-69, whatever it was. And it's amazing what a difference a few months makes, or a month and a half, something like that. Diamondbacks got a big win against the Cubs 6-4. Justin Steele took the loss in that game. So that was when I was talking about the guy's last name. It was Fad, and how he had like a 6 ERA entering the game. He had a 1-8 record. Yeah, he actually ended up pitching very well, and Justin Steele got the loss. So who saw that coming? I didn't. But he went 5 1/3, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, and beat Justin Steele, who's a Cy Young candidate. Padres, they beat the A's 8-3, and then the Dodgers took the first game against the Mariners 6-3. So then we go to Saturday. The Yankees, they beat the Pirates 6-3. Rockies swept the doubleheader of the Giants. So they won 9-5 and then 5-2. I think that's the order in the game. 9-5, 5-2. Yep. Then Blue Jays won in walk-off fashion against the Red Sox 4-3 in 13 innings. Oh, it's Chad Green. Was that Chad Green that picked up the win? 3-0 with the 9 ERA? Was that actually who that was? Let's look. Because I know he signed with the Blue Jays. And, in fact, it was Chad Green, because Chad Green had to get Tommy John surgery, so he's back and he's pitching. I did not know that. I thought he was I mean, then again, it's late in the season, so But no, that's good to see Chad Green back out there, even though it's for a division rival. Padres 5-2 over the A's. Marlins all over the Braves on Saturday, 11-5. That was the other thing I forgot to mention. They swept the Braves, which that's huge. That's huge for them. Guardians 2-1 over the Rangers. Orioles 8-0. So they were Glasnow took the loss, so that was a rough start for him. Royals beat the Astros 10-8. Reds defeated the Mets again 3-2. White Sox won 7-6 over the Twins. Brewers 9-5 over the Nationals. Phillies 6-1 over the Cardinals. And then in walk-off fashion, D-backs defeated the Cubs 7-6 in 13 innings. Let's look at who got the walk-off hit here. The walk-off hit was by... So there was actually a review. So Gabriel Moreno singled on a ground ball. Longoria scored. Emmanuel Rivera tied the game, and then Gabriel Moreno singled. So I guess they had to review the play with Longoria scoring. So yeah, Diamondbacks won again. Tigers beat the Angels 5-4 in 10 innings. So they have a better record than the Angels. That's crazy. And then and this was a game I briefly mentioned in the beginning. Dodgers Mariners. It was 0-0 for a while. It was 0-0 until the 10th inning. And then it was 1-1, and then the Dodgers scored 5 in the top of the 11th, and then the Mariners scored 1 in the bottom of the 11th. And the final score 6-2. So that was Saturday. Yankees lost 3-2, so any playoff hopes that they have, that was a tough loss for them. Still talking about them, but they're still in it. Orioles, walk-off fashion, defeat the Rays 5-4. So these teams ended up splitting. So that's good for the Orioles. Blue Jays, especially how the first two games went. Blue Jays, they took care of business with the Red Sox 3-2. So that was big for them. Mets won 8-4 against the Reds. Guardians won 9-2 against the Rangers. Marlins 16-2 over the Braves for the sweep. Yeah, that's Charlie Morton took the loss in that game, so he had a rough start there. Luzardo picked up the win. But yeah, that was a huge series for the Marlins. Then you got the Astros and the Royals. Astros took the final game. Valdez picked up the win. Jordan Lyles picked up the loss. Jordan Lyles, 4-17 with a 6.43 ERA. And I think he's Greinke's there, but he's one of the veterans on the staff, and it's just that's rough. Twins 4-0 over the White Sox. So they took the series 79-71. Their record is at. Brewers lost in 11 innings, 2-1 to the Nationals. Cardinals win 6-5 over the Phillies. Giants were able to pick up a win, 11-10 over the Rockies. So a very high scoring game. They put up 8 runs in the 6th inning. Rockies put up a 5 spot in the bottom of the 6th. And then the Rockies put up a 4 spot in the 9th inning. So Giant fans were definitely freaking out over that, but they were able to pick up the win. Tigers again beat the Angels. So they improved their record to 70-79. Angels are 68-82. I know they're gonna end up being close to a 90-loss team, and this is after being a contender. Going out and trading people and trying to be a contender. It's bad. That is really bad. So Padres again beat the A's 10-1. So 72-78 on the season. Again, just can't say enough how disappointing the Padres have been this year. Dodgers 6-1 over the Mariners. So that was I think a big test for the Mariners, and it just that just shows you that the Dodgers or how elite the Dodgers are. And then the Diamondbacks, they beat the Cubs to complete the sweep, 6-2 over the Cubs. But yeah, rough weekend for the Cubs, and this is what I will go into in the next segment, going over the wild card race. But the Cubs, man, they have really been struggling as of late. And listen, I kept saying how they were a lock to make the playoffs, but right now it's Right now they have the third wild card spot. The Diamondbacks surpassed them in the wild card race. So, yeah, it's not looking good right now for the Cubs. So hopefully, for Cub fans, they're able to figure it out and get their act together. But yeah, that was rough. Diamondbacks have been playing better as of late. And that was a team that I, had on the outside looking in, another team. And since then, yeah, it's between them and the Rangers. But now the Rangers have got swept, so now they're, but it's just, but that's how crazy, and I can't say it enough, how crazy it's been. You have teams just, like, they're hot, they're cold, there's different teams, like, taking over the spots in the wild card. It's going to be like that to the very end. And, yeah, it's exciting. Really, it's all going to come down to tiebreakers, really. So, it's going to be a lot of fun towards the end, and I keep saying that, but it's true. People have their complaints, I would say, with the expanded playoffs, because you have teams that make it that shouldn't make it, and yeah, that's going to happen. And it's like that with the NFL too, with adding the extra seed. But it does make it exciting when you have a lot of teams that are, like, multiple teams fighting for a spot, because you never really had that. You didn't have that back in the day, and now you do. So I think that's one of the reasons why teams, you expand the playoffs. The NBA did it with the play-in tournament too. It's just you're trying to add teams because you want to have more games. But in some ways it's a good thing, some ways it's a bad thing, because you got teams that make it that might not deserve to be in it. So, but yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a baseball fan, and like I said, we got 2 weeks left. Season ends on October 1st, and then that will determine who's in and who's not, and then the wild card series start, and then we're off and running, and it's gonna be here before you know it. This was probably one of the faster seasons that I can ever remember. This season flew by, and yeah, it's almost that time again. It's almost that time again, and it's going to be interesting because there's some teams that have been in the playoffs that will not be in it this year, and I'm referencing the team that you see plastered all over my wall in the background. But it will. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and paying close attention to those games. Because I'm gonna have to, and see if the favorites get knocked off. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's pretty much all the scores from this weekend. And like I said, in the next segment, we are going to go over the current standings, because there's a lot to unpack with that. So before we go to break, again, just want to remind you guys. To tip or to donate to the program and get your comments recognized, it's on the bottom, but go to streamelements.com/gsmcsports./tip, and really helps the show. And for bonus coverage, materials that are not on this broadcast, go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network, and I will put up the Patreon graphic here. So that's where. So that's what you would search up when you're looking for us. And this goes for all the podcasts, the college football, the basketball podcast, and the fantasy football podcast. So make sure, obviously, also to go check those out as well. Austin and Kashan do a great job with those shows as well. And Kashan was in the chat on Friday asking me some questions, so I really appreciated that. And I made sure to return the favor and do the same thing. But yeah, those are the familiar faces when it comes to that. It's us three. So yeah, make sure to go check that out. So with that, we will take our final break of the show, and then when we come back, we're going to take a look at the current playoff picture as it currently stands, the current standings and all that. So stick around, and we will be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.